So welcome everyone. We will get started. Just dropping a little bit of information in the chat. Feel free to use the chat. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Audrey Whaling. I am the program manager for the Lansing 2030 district, and we are very excited to have you all today. We're excited to hear from our experts from MSU and BWL. Thank you all so much for being here. I did want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on the MyGBC's YouTube channel and through email a little bit later, along with the slides and all of the links that pop up in the chat. So if you have to jump off, or if you have a colleague who is not able to join us today, please send this to them, and we would love to continue to connect. I did want to make a note that after the last time that we had a webinar, last time we were all together, we were an emerging 2030 district, and we are now officially established, woohoo, as the Lansing 2030 district. What that means is we have great commitment and momentum from our community, and we are excited to continue carrying this forward. We had a celebratory moment at Lansing City Hall with our key members and stakeholders. It was really nice to engage with folks. And so please keep an eye out for additional programming and additional educational events as they come up. And we're just excited to keep going. Whoops. So I did want to take a moment to thank our partners in this work. The City of Lansing is our key collaborator, and we would not be here without the generous support of our visionary stakeholders, BWL, Eagle, and Consumers Energy. Thank you so much for that. We are also supported on a statewide level by our key partners who are involved in many of the 2030 districts supporting this work. My goodness. And we continue to be very generously supported by all of the visionary supporters of our parent organization, MyGBC. If you or your organization is interested in supporting this work through sponsorship or perhaps in-person event sponsorship, we are always looking for additional collaborations and ways to work together. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me to help make those things happen. So as I mentioned, my name is Audrey Whaling. I am the program manager for the Lansing 2030 district, and my contact details are here. So we will go through just a little bit about what the Lansing 2030 district is, talk about the role of energy savings and some key terms, and we'll hear from the fabulous teams at the Michigan State University Industrial Training and Assessment Center and the Lansing Board of Water and Lights official contractor, Slipstream. We'll have some time for panelists. We'll do some panelist questions, and we will also have time for audience questions. So there is a little icon down at the bottom of your, should be a little icon that says Q&A. Please feel free to submit your questions there or drop them in the chat, and we will do our best to get to as many as we can. We know that there's a lot of questions out there about a variety of things, so we will focus primarily on questions that are related to this content. But if you have questions outside of that, there's lots of contact information for you to take advantage of so that we can make sure we try to get your questions answered. So I'd like to take a moment to have the panelists introduce themselves, and I will start with Kristen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Kristen Chetin. I work at MSU and the director of the Industrial Training and Assessment Center. I'm also faculty here in Civil and Environmental Engineering. And yeah, very glad to be here today. And we have two other team members here as well. So I'll pass it to them, or however you'd like to do it, Audrey.
Yeah, please, Juliana, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Juliana Thompson. I am a graduate student in environmental engineering here at Michigan State. I am the center lead of our ITAC center here at Michigan State, and just excited to be here and talk about energy savings with everyone. I'll pass it to Deb.
Hello everyone, this is Deb Rudra. I'm here as a research associate and research engineer in Michigan State University and supporting the program. So yeah, thanks to everyone to join this call, and yeah, looking forward to engaging 1 hour. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'll pass it to the team at BWL. Josh, would you like to begin?
Hi, everyone. Josh Peterson with Slipstream. We're a nonprofit based in Madison, Wisconsin. I work on Board of Water and Lights Hometown Energy Savers program. So we provide rebates for commercial and industrial customers. And I'll pass it off to Glenn, moving to the right.
My name is Glenn Voisin. and I am the program manager for the BWL's business, small business and commercial industrial energy waste reduction program. Happy to be here. Nate, you're up.
Yeah, my name is Nate Simon. I'm also an energy advisor with Slipstream. Been in Lansing my whole life. I've been with Slipstream for a little over 2 years now, and just kind of work beside the others to accomplish our goals.
Wonderful. Thank you so much all for being here, for taking the time to join us today and share your expertise. And so before we get going, I just want to ask the audience to participate in a poll with us. There are 2 questions there for you. Please help us know who you are. What kind of stakeholder are you? Do you identify as a building or business owner, a facilities manager, community organization, a professional partner perhaps, or other? If you are other, you are still welcome here, and we'd love to understand how we can best support you on your energy savings journey. And then the second question is, how much knowledge do you have about savings, energy savings, best practices, and resources available? I'll just give that another moment. See results trickling in. Looks like we've got a good representation.
Yeah, sorry, it was just not letting me click in there, so it wasn't.
That's okay. We think you're probably an expert, Nate.
Thanks. I appreciate that assumption.
Excellent. Had about 16 responses so far, so I'll give it one more moment. If anybody would like to participate in our poll, just letting us know who you are and what kind of knowledge you have. I'm going to end this poll here shortly. All right. And so if we look at the results, what kind of stakeholder are you? We've got a good representation of other. If you are other, please share who you are in the chat so we can reach out to you. A couple of facilities managers, that's great, and some professional partners. So good smattering across the board. And then if I look at how much knowledge do you have about energy savings, it looks like we've got people who are mid-range, so that's good. Some people at the beginning of their journeys, some people towards the end. That's great. We've got a lot of great content for you all today. So I will stop sharing these results. And we will dive into the meat of our presentation. So just a quick refresher for those of you who may be new or might need to learn a little bit more about what a Lansing 2030 district is. We are a network on a national level, including 2 districts in Canada that have a set of goals focused around saving energy and reducing emissions. And we do that through building energy use, evaluating that to reduce it, transportation emissions, and water waste and consumption. All of those reductions help reduce emissions in the built environment. And then that enables us to help promote a high-performing building district, community vibrancy, and economic growth. That means saving energy, saving money, and then that can go back into your community for you. So the role of energy savings in this, and our experts will dive more into this, but ultimately can help you reduce, if you save energy, it can help you reduce your utility bills, overall save money, and improve resilience of your property and your community, as well as improve the return on investment of your buildings. And again, overall, that contributes to reduction of emissions in the built environment, which helps us reach our goals, improves economic growth, and overall quality of life for our people. There are a lot of words on these slides, and I am not going to read all of them, but I do want to have a moment to have these up here so people can look at them. And they will be available again through the slides in this presentation if you'd like to refer back to them. But a couple of items that I just like to zero in on are LED. A lot of people might not know what that stands for, the light emitting diode. That is a very common early recommendation for saving energy. And it's a different kind of lighting that converts electrical energy into light energy. Weatherization is another big topic these days, and that is known to help weatherproof your building against extreme heat, cold, wind, etc. And that we do that, and that ultimately helps reduce your energy loss or improves energy savings. And you can do that by improving your building envelope. Again, our experts will talk a little bit about that. And one more set of terms, again, not going to zero into all of these, but I will take a moment to make a note that something called incentives, many of you have heard of that. There are prescriptive incentives which tend to be a predefined financial incentive for a specific energy, a specific type of equipment or technology. And then there's custom incentives, which tend to be more prescriptive, sorry, not more custom to a project or a piece of equipment. And in this case, our partners at BWL tend to use rebate and incentives more interchangeably, but I will let them get into that. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Kristen and her team at the Michigan State Industrial Training and Assessment Center. Please take it away.
Thanks, Audrey. Yeah, just a kind of quick overview of what we're planning to cover. So we're going to give a quick overview about what we do, so all of you on the call have an understanding of where we're coming from. And then we have some lists of common types of ideas for recommendations that come up when we typically do energy audits of buildings. So when we go through and look at buildings, look for identify opportunities to improve efficiency or save money, and go through those. And then we have some case study examples as well, and then we'll pass it off to Board of Water and Light and Slipstream. So I'm going to give the quick overview of what we do, and I'm going to pass it to my teammates here to continue. So Audrey, if you don't mind switching to the next slide. Okay, so for those of you on the call that may not be familiar with our program, so we are one of multiple different programs that are funded federally through the U.S. Department of Energy. And through this effort, we are one of 37 to 39, depending on how you define it, multiple different, let's say, centers throughout the country that accomplish similar goals. And really what we're targeting is trying to work with people like you all on the call, or at least portions of the people that are on the call, building owners, companies, organizations that have buildings, or they're looking for opportunities to reduce costs, reduce emissions, save energy, whatever your environmental goals are, that's typically where we come in. This program was established a very long time ago. It's one of the longest standing programs in the country since the 1970s. And our particular center, what we work on is primarily focused in Michigan, but we also do a little bit of other areas, sometimes Ohio, sometimes a little bit of Indiana. And we work with Michigan Tech as well as several other organizations, Henry Ford College, as well as others, to help support this process. And the types of buildings we work with are primarily commercial, industrial, and water and wastewater treatment throughout Michigan. So if you can go to the next slide. So just a little bit more in terms of our goals. Part of what we do is really working with these 30 to 40 buildings a year, trying to improve efficiency, but we'll also see, and you'll see Juliana here on the call is one of them. We are trying to train students that are interested in this area to help go work in the energy space once they graduate. So we integrate students and participants as a part of all aspects of what we do as a form of on-site training and hands-on training. So we really have both of those missions, and so you'll see that reflected in what we talk about. If you can go to the next slide really quick. Okay, so who do we work with? For those of you that are on the call, I'm not sure what category you fall into, if it's industrial, commercial, or something else, but really we work with a very broad range of different types of buildings, and we're generally targeting the smaller and medium-sized buildings. So that could be commercial buildings, schools, grocery stores, community centers, could be anything on the commercial building side. And then industrial facilities, so factories of any sort, where they have some particular guidelines that we need to follow in terms of energy bills, sales, and employees. But for the most part, we're looking at those small and medium-sized buildings, really where we can help the most. If you can go to the next slide. Okay, so what do we do, and the result of what we do in this energy assessment process, and where a lot of the information that we'll share here comes from, is trying to spend as much time as we can with whoever it is that is interested in these assessments to understand what their goals are, and then to go through an assessment process where we walk through the building, we go through ideas for recommendations, And then we collect data and try to quantify what's the costs for those, what's the energy savings potential, what's the emissions reduction. So how much energy can you save? How much cost can you save? How much CO2 emissions can you reduce? And how long is it going to take to pay back? Meaning, how many years is it going to take before you get more benefit than you paid upfront? So the report that results as a part of this is typically fairly long, and it tries to quantify everything that's in here. And if you don't want to understand all that stuff, but just looking for an overall idea, there's a table at the front that tries to talk through what are the ideas, what are the high level costs, those kind of things. So that's what ultimately results from what we work on and what you'll see in some of the information Deb will share in a few minutes here. Can you keep going to the next slide? Okay, so what kinds of systems are we typically targeting? So this really depends on what kind of systems are the most energy intensive in your buildings. And so you may or may not know exactly what that might be. But if you don't, then generally we have some information that we can try to estimate what those are. But common ones, probably the biggest is usually our heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. So heating and cooling of your building. For industrial compressed air systems, so the compressor itself and all of the equipment that goes with that. For all types of buildings, we're talking about building envelope. So that's what separates the inside and the outside of the building, the roof, the walls, the foundation. And then if we're talking more about industrial facilities, we might talk about all the process related components. So heating and cooling for process loads, pumps, fans, various things there. And then also across all buildings, we, as Audrey mentioned, for example, with LED lighting, right? We are often working with lighting systems as well. So anything that consumes energy, that's typically what we're looking at. Go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to pass it off to Deb, and what Deb will do is go through some of these common recommendations that we see that, you know, if you're just getting started with this stuff and you're not exactly sure where to go, hopefully this can give you some ideas of the kinds of things that you can think about, that they don't cost a lot of money, they're not too complex, but they're things that can get you started on the kind of journey of getting to saving some energy and costs without a whole lot of capital cost requirements. So I'll pass it to Deb.
Yeah, so like here what we try to list down, so this is kind of based on our what we did assessment of for last 4 years. We had like assess around 27 commercial buildings and then 66 industrial buildings, and just got some of the numbers from there, which are the most common ones and that we saw in places, and some of them which are like the very low cost, very low cost to implement, but gives like a really good savings on the cost part. So that we try to list down here. So as an example, like the lighting is like one of the big components in commercial sectors. Like a lot of the time, like maybe during the night time when there is no one, still like a lot of lights remain on. Those can be turned off. So these are like very less cost, very like not much cost to implement these kind of scenarios, but results in like a lot of good amount of savings. Then like for external, like for if they have a parking lot or any exterior lights, we can like have a photo cells control. So which is like when there is enough light outside, like enough daylight, the lights automatically turned off. But whenever the daylight becomes low, the exterior lights turned on. So those kind of systems is like very easy to implement and resulted in a good savings. At the same time, I also want to mention like on the extreme right column, so we also list down what are the like if there are any rebates available. So we can see here like we'll also our BWL teams, they will discuss it in more detail, but there are a lot of rebates available in a lot of them. So at the same time, these are like a comparatively low cost and they also have rebates available. Then like few more is in the commercials, air conditioning is kind of a big part. So those can be uh, there are some sections of savings a lot of the times, like maybe like when the space is not being used, like during the night time, or maybe during the weekend if it is closed. It do not need to be cooled to like a very low temperature, so the set points can be remain a bit on the higher end during the winter. So this kind of scenarios that results in a like a good savings in a long term. So if you move to the next slide, Ajay. uh, Yeah, so this is for the industrial ones, which are like kind of very low to no cost savings. Here also we see lighting is like a big chunk of them as uh, in the initial like the definition of terms already mentioned about the LED. So that's like a huge potential here, like a lot of industrial sectors there are a bit older lighting system. If it can be updated to the LED, that can be a big solution, like a good amount of savings there. Then the heat HVAC condition, like the air conditioning systems, like there can be installed like the timers or thermostat to the HVAC, so that whenever there is like at the end of the operations, it can be automatically turned back to some higher set points, or it may even switched off like when it's not needed. Some of the components, those can resulted in good amount of savings. Then air compressor is like one of the big component in the industrial ones. A lot of the times, the air compressors are being set to a particular pressure, and then it supply the compressed air to different components. Now it may happen like it's that's the pressure that's set to the air compressor that's like way high than was needed on the end. So we generally look into those kind of components and see if there is any scope of reducing the pressure, and that generally results in like good amount of savings. Now moving forward to the next one. If you so here also like we try to list down some of the one which has highest saving recommendations. Now like one interesting thing I just want to mention, like this is like we did for like last 4 years, and at the same time like it's like BWL is separately developing their own rebate, but we can see like all the highest possible savings one, they have rebates available from BWL, so they have good scope for all of them. And maybe like I'm repeating some of the ones like again, but it's very important to like the lighting, the air conditioning systems, turning off the equipments if they are not being used when there is no operations. Like kind of these are simpler but have can result in a good amount of cost savings for the sector. And if you go to the next one for the industrial slide, yeah. Uh, Here for the industrial ones, air compressor actually plays a huge role, uh, like reduce the pressure, and then maybe uh, like it- like for the air compressor, it takes the air from uh takes air and then compress it to a higher pressure. So from where it is taking it is it taking from like a kind of is taking like a cold air or warm hot air? Based on those components, the consumption consumption of the air compressor increase significantly. So have like maybe like change relocate the compressor to a certain place, like or having the ducting, so it can take air from the coolest locations. Those has huge potentials of savings. So yeah, so this kind of the like just a overview of what are the implementations that can be done, or like that we normally saw in different assessments in last few years, which has a lot of energy component. Now, moving forward, like I'll pass it to Juliana, so she will also discuss about some of them, which is along with apart from the energy, there are some sections which is also look for the cost savings, that we also look for the facility. So, Juliana will talk about those components.
Yeah, so part of our analysis when we do assessments at facilities is we do a full 12-month utility bill review, and some of the common utility-related recommendations that we often see are listed here. So some of those being prevent late fees just by simply paying your utility bills on time, applying for tax-free status on manufacturing-related expenses. So in Michigan, that is something that manufacturers can do, can reduce the amount of tax on their very large manufacturing bills. Improve power factor by installing capacitor banks. This kind of is related to how efficiently the building receives and uses energy, and it's often a penalty on many manufacturing bills. Another recommendation we see is to combine utility meters to reduce additional fees. Often there's several $1,000s like just system access for having different meters, and so if we can combine those, there could just inherently be cost savings there. Another things being changing utility rates to better suit facility needs. This would be, a conversation between the facility and their utility representative, but just seeing if they're on the best rate for their facility. And then finally, the potential of enrolling in demand response programs for utility credits. These programs allow businesses to earn credits by committing to reduced energy use on what are called event days, where typically electricity demand is at its highest. So it's just a program there to potentially get some utility credits. So yeah, that's an overview of some of the common recommendations we see or we have when just straight looking at facilities bills. So if you want to go to the next slide. We have some case study information here as well. So in our last year of assessments throughout all of 2024, we had 29 assessments. This is split between commercial and industrial. And in total, we recommended about $1.3 million in savings and cost savings. And from those, about $240,000 of implemented savings from the manufacturers. Some of the commonly implemented projects, like Deb was saying, surround compressed air, leaks or reducing pressure, doing maintenance on steam traps, upgrading lights to LED, and performing lighting controls, as well as applying for that tax-free status. And some of our largest savings projects are often installing solar, generating your own electricity, as well as equipment upgrades, whether that's HVAC or air compressors or motors or things like that. Go to the next slide. So a case study here as well. This assessment was very interesting. I was on this one, a couple of years ago, and it was for a supplier of industrial robots and automated production solutions. Our report for this facility had 6 assessment recommendations, totaling just under 300,000 kilowatt hours in estimated energy savings, just over 12,000 MMBTUs of natural gas savings, and around $130,000 of estimated cost savings. The facility went on to implement about 70% of these projects, some of the larger ones being to upgrade to a new air compressor with a variable frequency drive and implement office temperature setbacks. And you can see the savings listed there. This facility also took what we recommended for this facility and applied it to several of their other facilities, and it allowed them to be awarded a Green Macomb Sustainability Award, which is pictured here in the photo. And overall, they were able to reduce their electricity consumption by 21%, increase recycling rates by 35%, and reduce water consumption by 25%. So that was just really neat. I was able to be a part of that team and help this facility reach this level of success. And so it's a case study we like to share. If you can go to the next slide. We also like to tell people about the ITAC implementation grants. So this is available for industrial facilities and manufacturers. And so with this, the U.S. Department of Energy, as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law, made funding available for eligible manufacturing facilities that have had ITAC assessments completed. This funding is to support the implementation of any of the recommendations that we make in the report. The program provides matching grant funding, like a 1-to-1 match, up to $300,000 for each assessment recommendation. Multiple grants per quarter are allowed, providing each grant is dedicated solely to a unique project recommendation. And there's no limit to the number of grants per funding round per applicant. Overall, we like to share information about this because it's really helpful to small and medium facilities who maybe don't look at the higher payback facilities or the higher payback recommendations and the larger projects like upgrading HVAC units and large equipment and big envelope projects. And so this program overall is highly responsive to questions and has made a significant effort to make the grant application process as easy as possible. It's on a rolling basis, so every quarter they're reviewing grants. And we've had several of the facilities we've worked for apply and win grant money. And so in total, so far, facilities have had 26.3 million in grants awarded. So, and then some links on the page here, I'll just send you to helpful information about this as well. And then if you go to the next slide. Okay, again, here's some of the information I just iterated, and I just wanted to also say that there are some different qualifying information. Most of it aligns with what we as a center require manufacturers to have an assessment, but mostly being that they are a manufacturer, a domestic entity, they fall under standard codes, have annual sales less than $1 million, energy bills between $100,000 and $3.5 million, and then fewer than 500 employees. Okay. And then finally, if you would like to collaborate or have the Industrial Training and Assessment Center do an assessment for a facility that we have our director's contact information there. On our website, we have more information and then a pre-assessment form to fill out if your facility is interested.
Thank you so much, Juliana, Deb, and Kristen. We're excited to have some of the future energy industry leaders with us today. And I'm really glad to hear that there's so much good, positive collaboration on the grants. And wow, good to know that lighting and AC savings, especially as we roll into the summer months, are popular places. So with that, I will hand it over to Josh and his team with BWL.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So we'll provide rebates for any project done at a building that's either been recently completed or is planned to be completed. And I've got listed here some of the different types that we offer. We have a complete application for lighting and lighting controls. We have a full page of different rebate opportunities for refrigeration, for HVAC. We've got an entire application for compressed air, same for indoor agriculture. And then we have an application for a small business, which technically speaking doesn't have to be a business, but it's a facility where the building's floor square footage is under 25,000 square feet. So for those customers that qualify, we give them an enhanced rebate. Other programs that we have that our partnering organization manages are multifamily and residential, and there's a separate rebate application for both of those sectors. Ready for the next slide. One, I guess, case in point that might be timely for a lot of people is smart thermostats. This is just one of many rebates that we offer. It's one of our, so this was mentioned earlier, the difference between prescriptive and custom. So this is a prescriptive rebate that we have listed on our non-lighting application. So really any building that currently has, old dial thermostats, non-programmable, even programmable thermostats, we'll provide an upgrade, a rebate for upgrading to smart thermostats for a qualifying unit. I would just refer you to the application for some basic qualifications on what meets the criteria for that rebate. But yeah, even if you have programmable thermostats, there's some unique features on smart thermostats that can get you additional savings. According to Energy Star, it might be 10% of your heating and cooling bills saved by the smart thermostat. And if you do have cooling through Board of Water and Light and heating through Consumers Energy, you might get an additional rebate from Consumers Energy for the gas savings. And yeah, just I guess I'll reiterate, refer to the application for any particular project to see if it qualifies, to see if the piece of equipment qualifies, or reach out to us at the listed email or phone number. And I'll be sure to drop my email and phone number into the chat here too briefly. Yep. Next slide, please. Yeah, the small business program. So I mentioned we have some bumped up rebates for those. One recent project that was done, I believe, towards the tail end of last year. So this was just a basic relamping project. The customer had a bunch of T8 fluorescent lights, which is still pretty common in existing buildings. We even see some of the old T12 lights that were super common in the 1990s and early 2000s and are still hanging around. But this customer actually, in tandem with installing new LED lights, they permanently removed some of their fluorescent lights. So on some, for example, 2-lamp fixtures, they would install a bright LED lamp in one place of the fixture and permanently remove the other T8 lamp. So they got a very generous rebate for that. In this case, it did cover not only the material cost, but the electrician's cost as well. So yeah, just one little case study there showing that this can really, you know, if you were thinking about a lighting project, but were worried about the cost or didn't think you had the money to do it, we can help for sure. Yeah, and I think I've got one more slide after this one. Yeah, so just point out that we've been around, we've been working with customers big and small over the years here in Lansing. You know, we've worked with General Motors, we've worked with Quality Dairy, we've worked with churches the size of 5,000 square feet. So I guess the baseline message to reiterate is if you have a project going on right now or plan to in the future, or you have something that you recently installed, and if you think it saves electricity or you want to find out, give us a call or send us an email and we'll help you out. So one thing I want to do is navigate the application website real quick and just show everybody who's on how to find our applications.
Yep, go ahead.
So I'm going to share.
Is it allowing you to do it?
And okay, Audrey, am I sharing?
I can see your screen. Can others see your screen? Fantastic. Yep.
Okay, we're good.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I will drop this webpage link into our chat. But basically, once you go here, so this is the webpage for commercial and industrial customers who want to get rebates, HVAC improvements, lighting improvements.
I'm not seeing the screen. We're still on the BWO.
It's a tab at the top, Glenn, where it says MIGBC's screen and then Josh Peterson's screen up at the top window.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Stand by, please. One moment. Thank you for calling that out.
There we go.
We're going to do this. So you can see Josh's screen now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay. So this is our webpage for the Hometown Energy Savers commercial and industrial rebates. I'll drop this into our chat here briefly. But once you find yourself on this webpage, you scroll down, and these are the 5 main applications that we have. There is one additional. There's a custom rebate application. I'll skip that one for now. but just to kind of walk through it. So open one, download the application. You've got the application instructions page on the front. A couple pages for customer information. And then we have what we call application worksheets that shows all the different improvements that we can incentivize on this application. So I'll stop share and I will plug that link into the chat. And I'll also put my contact info in there too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate that. And we are back. Can you all see the panelists on the screen now? Fantastic. Thank you so much. So we have heard a lot of great information from our teams here. And now we're going to move into the panelist/audience questions for this portion. And this is a sort of an open format. So I'll ask a question, and if whomever feels interested to jump in, please do so. We've got a couple questions in the chat, but I'll ask a question first. So if any the audience members want to add something, they can. And I think my first question is something to think about. So what are some of the key challenges building owners or facilities managers or folks who are starting this journey or on this journey might face as they start thinking about their energy savings and energy efficiency journeys, whether they're at the beginning or the end? And feel free to jump in, whoever would like to respond.
Yeah, I can respond to that a little bit. I would say that at least in our small business program, when we were having some business owners with relatively small pockets trying to complete these projects, it's kind of how to fund it. And so that's why we created the small business program in general, so that we can offer a little bit more incentives there, and help them out. So Josh kind of touched base on it a little bit, where between the commercial and industrial and our small business programs, the incentives are much higher on the small business programs for our smaller customers. So that's just kind of designed to help out those mom and pop stores and help get things funded.
And as we said before, the small business, and even in the commercial industrial sector, you don't have to actually be a business. You have churches, you have nonprofits, you have service organizations. All of those still qualify for our program, as long as you're paying the Board of Water and Light for your electric. You qualify. So just because you're not a business, you still qualify for these programs. And yeah, like Nate said, we do recognize that small business has unique challenges as far as not always having the capital to fund these programs. So incentives are more generous for the small business for that reason, so that some of these maybe low-hanging fruits can be plucked and done relatively easily. We do have also an ability for a contractor. If you have a contractor that does the project, you can sign off the rebate to the contractor. So then the out-of-pocket for the individual business is even less to start with. And sometimes if the contractor gets the rebate, there may not even be a bill to the customer. So just like I said, trying to make it easy and affordable. That's why we're here to help facilitate all of that.
I'll just jump in to add. We would similarly mention cost as a obvious, challenge, but like everyone else on the call said so far, that's where the rebates and incentives and other things can come in. And there's plenty of opportunities to consider no cost related things that you can do, behavioral or otherwise, to try to adjust the consumption or the use of the various different energy consuming systems. And can be a benefit of having somebody come out, whether that's Water and Light or Slipstream or ourselves or another team, to just look at the systems with you and say, okay, these are probably your biggest energy users. Is there anything you can do about, adjusting how they're used, even if you don't have much capital to support adjustments of the equipment itself. The other thing we often hear in terms of challenges is kind of similar to the purpose of this call, like just not sure where to start or not sure what kind of systems you should be looking at. And so that's why the kind of the no cost resources such as ourselves or others on the call or otherwise through the state or at the national level can be helpful, just to give you some insight or somebody to talk to about these things to figure out where to start. The other thing, kind of two last quick things that we hear, time is, to what Glenn and others were saying earlier, time is always a concern, especially for the smaller buildings. And I'd say, ourselves or others are going to try to work around your schedule and how, for example, your building is used to try not to impact anything. And then in terms of maybe you've already had somebody come out and try to help with things and you're not sure there's much more to do. Just say we work with quite a few companies or organizations that are in that particular situation, and everybody comes with a little bit different angle out to look at things or to help with things. So there might be things that, you haven't thought about, you get a fresh set of eyes to try to understand where there's opportunities.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add too is one of the challenges that we have as a business is just people's knowledge of the program, because we've run into situations a lot where people have done work years prior and then they said, "Oh my gosh, wish I would have taken advantage of this program had I known about it." And so just that general knowledge can go a long way. And also keep in mind that even if you don't have anything, you don't see anything that fits your scope of work within our applications, if there's some sort of wattage reduction and it can be proven, send that information our way, because we'll try to work with you to see if we can build some sort of incentive for you, because this is a energy savings program, and if we're able to quantify that and get you paid out, we will. Our job is to help you guys out and help be more efficient. So any ways that we can do that, please let us know.
Thank you so much. That actually is a great opportunity to ask the question that's in the chat, indicating applications can be a bit complex. Can the utility provide me some help with preparing the rebate application?
Yes. So with that, there's many times I'll tell customers all the time, if you get me your personal information and an itemized invoice, and either like a spec sheet or some part numbers or something that we can verify the equipment with, then we have no problem filling out a lot of those applications out on your behalf, as long as we have the appropriate documentation to proceed with that. So a lot of folks will kind of get a little lost in the weeds or overwhelmed with the application process. We try to make it easy with having them calculate as you go. But if there's any questions, or even if it's inaccurate, we're going to check over these with a fine-tooth comb to ensure the accuracy. So you guys can feel free to kind of take a whack at it, but don't let that throw you off from getting money from us, because we're happy to give it away. So anyway, we can do that, definitely.
Yeah, we're not here to deny applications. We're here to make adjustments if necessary, and make sure that it's in the right place. And there's been lots of times where we've actually, said, okay, well, you're not in the right place, and we put you in a different one, and the rebate's higher than what you anticipate. Another thing that I'd like to say, that yes, the custom rebates are available. If you don't see something on an application, doesn't mean that we can't do a custom rebate. And the audits that MSU would do, and they've calculated a rebate, and if it's not a prescriptive a measure, but they've calculated savings, we can then calculate a rebate for you using their calculations. So now there are a few things that we can't, because it's hard to quantify. Some of their measures, like turn off the lights when you're not in the room. there is definitely energy savings. We just can't quantify that on a realistic basis. But if you were to install a vacancy sensor or occupancy sensor, those things we have already through the state calculated a savings and can provide an incentive for you. So the other thing that we do that is a little bit different than the we call the big boys, the consumers and DTEs, we've broken out our applications into smaller applications for specific measures, so lighting and non-lighting, and that. We did that specifically to make them less complex, easier to use, so that you don't have to scroll through 56 pages to get to a lighting measure. We try to keep them compact so that you can do that. And it doesn't mean you can't do multiple applications. You are allowed to do as many projects and applications each year until you get to an annual cap. And for us on the commercial industrial side, that's $100,000 in rebates. And then next year, if you hit 100,000 this year, next year you want more jobs, we can do it again next year. So the rebates reset every year. So
there's one question that's related to this, and I know Robert had a couple questions earlier that I'd like to get to. So just quickly, do the hosts or panelists, this is a great one for you all, conduct an Energy Star audit to conduct an Energy Star audit to receive an Energy Star score? Do any of our panelists do that?
For Slipstream and the BWL side, we will do walkthrough audits, but no, they are not Energy Star audits. Christine, you probably can talk to that.
Yeah, we don't typically include that as a part of the process that Department of Energy supports, but I don't know. I know, Audrey, we've had some discussions about that with you all. Maybe it's a question to pass back to you. I'm not sure.
Great, absolutely. Thank you for your responses. I think that through the Lansing 2030 district, we have folks that we can connect our members with that would do that kind of audit. But for more of the level 1 and level 2 and some of the work that our panelists are doing, that doesn't necessarily relate directly to an Energy Star score. But connect with us. We've got some resources for you. Glenn, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I would like to say that for those people that are doing the Energy Star audits, if they have measures that they want to do, we're still interested in those as well. We would still be able to provide rebates on an Energy Star audit if they do measures.
Thank you. We've got time for one more question before we've got to wrap up and get out of here. Such great information. Thank you all so much. Robert asked early on, what's the geographic reach of the MSU ITAC team and how long is the wait for an energy audit?
Yeah, so I tried to answer in the chat, or I think I answered the first one, but maybe not the second one. So we, as mentioned earlier, we're kind of a network of centers ourselves. We generally support any part of Michigan. So we'll go up to the UP, down to the southern part, and east and west, anywhere in Michigan is we support. And if you're outside of that region or know others that are interested in this kind of thing and are outside of that region, there's a huge network of 37 other centers that can do this kind of thing throughout the country that we can connect you with. In terms of weight, that really depends on what kind of a building you are, since we have different funding sources for different types of buildings. So I would say the industrial side, we're probably looking at beginning of 2026, since we're almost done with our assessments for the industrial side. Commercial buildings of any size, we could do much more immediately than that within the next few months. So, pretty quick turnaround on that side.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I just want to give some jazz hands to our panelists. Thank you so much for your time here today. I'm going to wrap us up. So what is next for all of our friends on the call today? The contact information for both MSU ITAC and our friends at BWL are here. There's a lot of great resources. What I'm hearing is it takes a little bit of time to save a lot of money. So please get in touch with these groups today. And if you need help making those contacts, or if you're not really sure where to go, that is my job. Please connect with me and I will get you directed to where you need to go. And make sure that you are enrolled in the Lansing 2030 district. One last thing here, I do want to do a little bit of a shameless plug. The Michigan Green Building Collaborative offers automated benchmarking services. This is a fee for service. So if you really want to energy benchmark, if you really want to know what's going on in your building, but you just don't have the time, please connect with us. We are happy to help you get on your way, and we will connect with you and the utility and work together to make sure that it's a seamless upload, and you get a report towards the end of the year, and we can go through and assess. And it's a really great opportunity to continue on your way. Again, what's next? If you haven't yet already, make sure that you sign up for the Lansing 2030 District. And then through this educational webinar and other activities and events that we're having, there'll be an opportunity to connect with all of the resources, especially MSU and BWL today, with all the opportunities that they have to offer. Sign up with us for automated benchmarking services and start saving money. Implement these resources so we can start saving you money and save energy overall. And then another note, we would like to encourage everyone to explore our case studies section on the Michigan Green Building Collaborative. We have a lot of great buildings and a lot of great studies from across the state of Michigan that have shared their success stories. It's an opportunity for you to learn. And if you, your organization, your building, your group has a success story that you want to share, please do submit that. And I am trying to do a little bit of a member spotlight in the Lansing 2030 District. So if you have a really cool project you want to talk about, please let me know so we can get that out through our social media. Here's the contact information for Kristen, Josh, and myself. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions you have. Please explore the resources available at the Lansing 2030 District, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. And just lastly, we want to again appreciate all those who support the work that we do, and we are very excited to continue to collaborate with you. And we want to appreciate all of the audience members for taking time out of their busy schedules on this beautiful summer day in Michigan to join us and learn about energy savings. And we're excited to hear your implementation and money saving stories. And I think that I learned today my favorite term now is relamping.
We do have one
Thank you all.
question in the
Go ahead.
Q&A. Are you leveraging ESCOs with performance guarantee and additional funding to help your clients? We do work with businesses that do performance guarantees. If they implement something, there are still rebates available for that. Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that question. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
It popped up right at the end.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate someone paying attention as well. Thank you all so much. It is now noon. If anyone has any final comments, please share. Otherwise, we will see you at the next exciting webinar.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.